Hands up, boys! We planned for this.
Know you are allied with us, but we had no real choice but to act. What you are fighting you cannot see. They are way more advanced, it's a fact. Of all protocols you must follow, of our arrest we take no offense. All that we ask is that you are quick, for in few hours we'll have no defense. With us you must unite, or we all die tonight. We can't win by power, we cannot win by might. Rules box us in with lock, tech beats us quick on clock, but we do have a plan down to very last man. So with us form a clan. We're getting RadiantOrb out, but cannot rest until we rout. We already sense you're all in, and we already know we'll win. So what is it you do now? Say, time is ticking, don't have all day. I know this sounds a bit like force. I assure you it's right on course. It's on you now. Balls in your court. It's on you now. Need your support. You ask what is inside the packet. Part of the plan, this will turn the tide. A force lacking in security is a force that has already died. If all of us do die on this night, why should it be from lack of foresight? Should we all go on this fool's errand? Dying through acceptance to our end. We're getting RadiantOrb out, but cannot rest until we rout. We already sense you're all in, and we already know we'll win. So what is it you do now? Say, time is ticking, don't have all day. I know this sounds a bit like force. I assure you it's right on course. It's on you now. Balls in your court. It's on you now. Need your support. We not only can, but we will. We not only will, but we must destroy the enemy in full, turning them all into finders.
Imagine meticulously planning a high-stakes classified military operation where step one of your big master plan is to make sure the enemy arrests you immediately.
Yeah, it completely inverts every established doctrine of self-preservation and tactical strategy.
Right.
And you spend your entire military career learning how to evade capture, and suddenly capture is the actual objective.
Welcome to the deep dive.
Oh.
Today we are opening up a newly discovered and highly classified archive file that was actually just unearthed on March 2nd, 2026.
Yeah, brand new to us.
Exactly. And the document is titled Omens Foretold, Chapter 12, Part 5, Juliett, which details a primary event narrative from April 11th, 1994.
And the operation at the center of this file is known as Aneurysmics Uniform Cardiac Arrest.
Which is quite a name.
It really is. And it is an incredibly dense covert military narrative. So our mission today is to deconstruct this file.
Right.
We are going to explore the extreme tactical ingenuity at play here and the heavy psychological weight bearing down on the characters making these decisions.
And the brilliant absurdity of intentionally getting detained just to deliver a covert message. I mean, think about it. Have you ever had to pull off a highly complex project on a 0-hour deadline?
Right, we all have.
Now imagine doing that while actively trying to get captured by an opposing force. Okay, let's unpack this because we need to start with the immediate physical problem that really establishes the tension in this text.
Yeah, the clock is ticking immediately.
Exactly. When we drop into the narrative, there is this desperate need for secure, off-the-grid communication. And the team is operating under severe time constraints.
Very severe.
We have a commander named Benedictus, and he is dictating highly restrictive field requirements to his engineering detail.
Well, he is essentially asking for an engineering miracle under field conditions.
Right.
He needs communication systems that are exceedingly compact.
Right, they have to fit in the vehicle.
Yeah, they have to fit seamlessly into a Humvee, but still possess the processing power and the battery robust enough to support a minimum of 4 men.
Oh, wow.
And because they are heading into this highly unpredictable, rugged territory, these systems absolutely must withstand severe shock and vibration.
Which is wild. I mean, it's like trying to build a parachute while jumping out of an airplane using spare parts from a junkyard. Building a circuit board that won't shatter when a Humvee hits a crater is hard enough in a laboratory.
Let alone in the dirt.
Right. Doing it in a makeshift camp is something else entirely. So they start scavenging. They're emptying out older equipment cases to use as secure switch boxes.
Just grabbing whatever they can.
Yeah. And they are actively modifying existing computers and radios right there in the dirt, like you said. But the tension really ratchets up when we learn about the timeline.
The timeline is brutal.
It is. 2 other operatives, Monroe and Damont, are tracking an allied unit called RadiantOrb. And RadiantOrb just hit a bypass and is exactly 70 minutes away from their location.
70 minutes. I mean, that is their entire window to build, configure, and deploy 4 separate, highly customized communication systems.
4 of them.
Yeah, they require 1 for themselves at the camp and 1 for each of their allied units. So Solar Oracle Light Beam and RadiantOrb.
It's like trying to hotwire a car while it's actively being towed.
Yeah.
You have to bypass the main ignition, strip the wires, and force a connection using whatever metal you have in your pockets, all before the tow truck hits the highway.
That is a perfect way to describe it.
And this leads to a decision from Benedictus that honestly feels incredibly dangerous.
Yeah.
Because of the 70-minute window, he makes the call to completely skip rigorous stress testing.
Right. He just bypasses it.
They are bypassing the physical field testing, and they are refusing to transmit any schematics over radio channels out of pure necessity. But wait, skipping stress tests on vital communication gear. Isn't that a fatal flaw when you're about to initiate a total blackout?
Well, what's fascinating here is the psychological pivot from an engineering mindset to a pure tactical survival mindset. In a lab, skipping stress tests is absolutely a fatal flaw. But in a firefight, waiting for a stress test is a fatal flaw. Benedictus is operating under the doctrine of good enough for now.
Good enough for now.
Exactly. He understands that a theoretically perfect communication system that isn't finished in time is entirely useless.
I get the good enough doctrine, I really do. But if they're setting up a total communications blackout across multiple allied units, a failed radio doesn't just mean a dropped call.
No, it means much worse.
It means friendly fire. It means entire units walking into ambushes entirely blind and deaf behind enemy lines. It feels reckless to the point of negligence to me.
Well, it is reckless by standard logistical metrics, but Benedictus is weighing 2 guarantees here.
Okay.
If we wait to test and verify these systems, we are guaranteed to miss the deployment window and be overrun in 70 minutes. If we deploy untested prototypes, we might fail.
So it's a choice between a possibility and a certainty.
Exactly. He is deliberately choosing a possibility of failure over a guarantee of destruction. And look at how he manages his team to enforce that prioritization.
How does he do that?
He explicitly tells his detail, and this is a quote, "Just say the word if you run into any problems. Don't continue until major problems are solved."
So he is filtering out all the external noise.
Yeah.
He doesn't want them worrying about the approaching units or the overarching war.
Right, just the task at hand.
He just wants them solving the immediate mechanical problem in front of them, one solder joint and one switch box at a time.
Precisely. It is an exercise in extreme localized focus.
So they actually managed to construct these 4 untested comm units, but since they can't transmit the schematics over the airwaves for fear of interception, they must be hand-delivered.
Which is a massive problem.
Yeah, you can't just drive a Humvee up to a heavily guarded opposing unit and knock on the front door. The perimeter security would shred them before they even hit the gates.
Absolutely.
Which brings us to Benedictus's radical contingency plan, right? The Trojan horse detainment.
This is where the tactical brilliance of uniform cardiac arrest really takes shape. We have 3 commanders heading out, Jameson, Michelson, and Collins. And the first protocol they establish is chain of command continuity. They each select 3 primary operatives to accompany them, and they are ordered to leave 1 secondary operative behind.
Like a backup.
Exactly, the person directly next in their chain of command to stand in and run the camp.
Because they are highly aware that this might be a one-way trip. From there, the preparation for the disguise begins. And this isn't a matter of just throwing on a stolen jacket.
Oh, no, it is way more complex.
Damont is assigned to seed temporary fabricated IDs into the opposing military databases. So they are essentially weaponizing the enemy's bureaucracy against them.
Yeah, and we should look at the mechanism of how that actually works. When Damont seeds those databases, he's not just adding fake names to a list.
What is he doing?
He's deliberately creating conflicting data packets. When a guard scans one of those temporary IDs at a checkpoint, the system is going to flag a discrepancy.
Like an error message.
Exactly. Perhaps a mismatched unit code or an overlapping deployment date. And standard operating procedure dictates that a discrepancy of that nature triggers a manual review by a higher-ranking officer.
Oh, wow.
So Damont is creating an unbypassable administrative bottleneck.
Think about how you feel when your passport won't scan at the airport gate. That momentary panic, the confusion from the gate agent as they stare at their screen, the supervisor getting called over.
We have all been there.
Now multiply that bureaucratic friction by 1,000 and apply it to an active war zone. Damont seeds the databases to make verification intentionally difficult, knowing the lack of time is on their side. They are turning the enemy's own security protocol into a traffic jam.
And they reinforce that digital friction with a highly specific visual narrative, too. They are stamping out formatted dog tags and lacing them directly into their boots.
Wow, really, in the boots?
Yeah, and they are ordered to dirty their uniforms and boots, ensuring there are small tears in the fabric to mimic recent trauma.
So even the grooming orders are mapped out to the millimeter. Some soldiers need to be completely clean-shaven, while others are ordered to cultivate a 3 to 7 day shadow.
It is all about looking the part.
Anyone with long hair has to receive a strict military regulation cut immediately. They are trying to blend into the statistical average of a deployed combat unit that has just crawled out of a harsh field environment.
And the delivery mechanism itself is stripped down to the bare minimum. They're taking 1 Humvee per team, 1 commander, 3 men, and they are armed exclusively with sidearms.
No rifles at all.
No rifles, no heavy munitions. They are intentionally driving into hostile territory entirely undergunned.
Which completely subverts the idea of stealth.
Right.
We usually think of stealth as being invisible, hiding in the shadows using camouflage.
Right.
Here, stealth is being hyper-visible, but utterly miscategorized. You're hiding in plain sight by becoming a bureaucratic problem instead of a tactical threat. By presenting themselves with conflicting IDs and no heavy weapons, they offer no violent resistance.
Exactly. By getting arrested, they bypass all the outer security perimeters, the minefields, the guard patrols.
Really genius.
Standard protocol ensures they are escorted directly to the opposing commanders for verification. And those opposing commanders are exactly who they need to deliver the comm systems to.
And Benedictus gives strict orders for the moment the detainment happens. Only the commanders, so Jameson, Michelson, and Collins, are allowed to speak to their opposing counterparts.
That is vital.
The foot soldiers are instructed to defer entirely to the commanders if they are interrogated.
Which is a crucial detail for operational security. The more people who speak under the immense stress of a hostile interrogation, the higher the mathematical probability that a fabricated story falls apart.
Yeah, someone will slip up.
Exactly. By centralizing all communication to the commanders who are holding the documentation packets containing the instructions and schematics, they seal the leaks.
And those documentation packets have all location and tactical data intentionally removed. If they are compromised and searched, the opposing force gains an isolated radio schematic, but they don't get the broader strategic map of the Allied forces.
Oh, right. It is contained.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Before they step into the line of fire, the tension peaks. The narrative suddenly shifts from this cold tactical planning to a surreal, deeply human moment, followed by a heavy philosophical reflection.
It is one of the most striking juxtapositions in the entire file.
Right before they leave, they have to execute those grooming orders we mentioned. An elderly soldier jokingly duct tapes the commanders to folding chairs.
Dictate.
Literally using duct tape. He pulls out a set of hair trimmers and large scissors from his back pocket. Over the loud buzzing of the clippers, he laughs and says, quote, "You ain't going nowhere yet. I've been waiting for this for a while, boys."
It is such a vivid scene.
He even offers them small hand mirrors when he's done treating the command tent like a neighborhood barbershop.
And Benedictus reveals that he has Damont secretly recording this entire haircut scene. He wants to capture the audio so that if they somehow survive this borderline suicidal mission, they can play it back and, quote, have a good laugh.
The cognitive dissonance of men laughing while physically duct taped to chairs right before a potentially suicidal mission is staggering. You have these hardened military commanders knowing that in less than an hour they will be driving out to surrender themselves at gunpoint.
It is a profound human coping mechanism to break that unbearable tension.
But while this lighthearted haircut is happening, the text drops us into Benedictus's internal monologue, and it is heavy.
Very heavy. The narrative dives deep into his psychological state, revealing the ideological engine that powers his willingness to take these risks.
He reflects on being painted as traitors, the tension between patriots in the military versus the government and corporations.
Right.
And the hypocrisy of people who suddenly want them to, quote, do something about it.
So it is crucial we approach this specific section of the text with absolute impartiality. We are not evaluating the validity of Benedictus's political worldview regarding governments, corporations, or his specific definition of what constitutes a patriot.
Exactly. We were just looking at the text.
However, from an analytical standpoint, we must recognize that this worldview is the structural foundation of his character. His unyielding belief that he is fighting a deeply rooted systemic corruption is the only thing that allows him to justify sending his men into a situation where they are meant to be captured.
We're reading the map of his mind, and the realization of shared blame is so compelling. Benedictus acknowledges his own past failures to speak up against evil infiltrating,
Yes.
concluding that only action right now actually matters.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this internal realization is the critical turning point for Benedictus. He snaps out of his ideological spiral.
He stops dwelling.
Exactly. The realization that dwelling on past inaction is useless, that action in the present is the only path to absolution. The physical action they are taking today, getting in those Humvees with those modified radios, is his only way forward.
Because the second those trimmers turn off, the philosophical debate ends and the physical trigger has to be pulled.
Then the tape comes off.
The duct tape is cut off the chairs, their resolve is solidified, and we move into the execution phase. How do they trigger the system once they're behind enemy lines?
We learn that their engineer Tweaker has successfully completed the commo field alterations on the switch boxes.
Okay.
Once Jameson, Michelson, and Collins are detained and brought directly to the opposing commanders, they have to hand over those redacted documentation packets.
So they must make those opposing commanders situationally aware, go completely dark, and then physically switch to the modified setup.
And that is when Damont, back at the camp, executes his side of the protocol. Once they go dark, Damont will drop the broadcast blackout and switch to active jamming.
Active jamming.
Yeah, specifically targeting the northeast, east, and southeast sectors on higher frequencies.
He is flooding specific higher frequencies with an overwhelming amount of electromagnetic noise. He is creating an impenetrable ceiling of static that blinds any aerial surveillance, leaving only their localized modified frequency clear.
They are building a narrow, highly encrypted tunnel through their own wall of static. But to link these isolated pockets of resistance together inside that tunnel, they need a foolproof synchronization code.
And the final elegant code linking to their modified SINCGARS is just incredible. The challenge is, quote, the cars. And the passphrase is, Singe Your Gone, a band and a song reference that is actually a transposition for SINCGARS.
Since you're gone, since you're gone.
Like a deadly serious dad joke in the middle of a covert op.
This raises an important question, right? How does a group maintain absolute security while relying on something as simple as a musical pun?
It seems too simple.
But when you analyze the cognitive load these soldiers are bearing, it makes perfect sense. Simplicity under pressure is a feature, not a bug.
Oh, I see.
Complexity fails in the field. A memorable pun survives. If the passphrase was a random string of alphanumeric characters, a soldier could easily forget it in the adrenaline dump of being detained.
You definitely won't forget the cars when you have a sidearm confiscated and a rifle pointed at your chest. Okay, let's wrap this up. We have covered MacGyvering comms in empty switch boxes, weaponizing database lag times, getting intentionally arrested to deliver intel, and triggering a massive frequency jam with an 80s band pun.
All set against a backdrop of heavy ideological reflection and duct tape haircuts.
Exactly. So what does this all mean for you? Think about Benedictus's internal realization. How often do we let the guilt of past inaction or the fear of not having a perfectly tested plan stop us from taking action right now?
We do it all the time.
Sometimes you just have to act with whatever imperfect tools you have.
And it leaves us with one final, lingering concept to mull over. If history is largely written by the victors, how many complex, brilliant operations like uniform cardiac arrest are buried deep in archives right now?
Probably a lot.
Actions labeled as treason by one side and heroism by another, just waiting for someone to discover the file 30 years later and realize the entire narrative was a matter of perspective.
Makes you wonder what else is out there. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.